Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Welcome, one and all, to a most excellent review. I am your host, Niall.
And I am Nolan. And together we are...
Nolan and Niall.
Yeah.
I always introduce myself first in these. But our whole lives it's always been Nolan and Niall.
Because I'm the oldest.
Well, not just that, it just rolls off the tongue better than Niall and Nolan.
I suppose so.
I've always been fine with it because it sounded better anyway.
Whatever.
But anyway, so today we're doing a review of a most excellent movie. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Or Bill and Ted 3.
The long-awaited sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
I don't know anyone who was like, oh man, when are they going to make a new Bill and Ted movie?
No.
And then they announced it and everyone went, excellent.
Right, it was one of those things like you didn't know you wanted
right.
until it was there.
Yeah, it's like, I never asked for this, but I'm happy it exists.
Yeah.
So before we get too far into it, I'll let you know, we're going to do a spoiler-free review. And give you a spoiler warning and go more in-depth into it after that. Not that there's a whole lot to spoil, because the big reveal...
It's fairly predictable.
It's pretty predictable, but...
That's the journey, though.
Yeah, so we'll just get out here. It is a fun movie. It's also a popular movie. There were more people in that theater than in all the showings that we've seen since the movie theaters reopened combined.
Yeah. I was so surprised when I walked in. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of...
Yeah, we walked in and went, where are all you people parked? Because there's no one in the parking lot. There's no cars in the parking lot.
I guess they all took the bus.
Yeah.
Carpooled. But yeah, it was like, I was surprised at how many people were there. But yeah, it was, it wasn't a full theater, but, with the way things are right now, it was packed compared to...
Yeah, so...
every movie you'd been to in the last few weeks.
So there was no one sitting in the front section, because if you choose to sit in the front section, you are a psychopath. But the back, area, behind, the walkway where you enter the theater on, I assume theaters are pretty much the same wherever you're at. But, so the back section was, pretty much as full as it could be with the empty seats that they're having to leave between groups.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as that back section goes, it was pretty full.
Yeah, I'm not sure they could actually get anyone else in there with the mandatory gaps in the
They might have been able to
seating.
fit a couple people between me and the group that was to our left. But
yeah.
it would have only been one or two people.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a fun movie.
I enjoyed it a lot, and the audience was all enjoying it.
Yeah, the audience was all laughing at it, and I don't think there were any.
If you're not a Bill and Ted fan, you're not.
Yes,
really
I mean it's another Bill and Ted movie.
It's very referential to the previous.
Yeah, not as
movies.
referential as the Jay and Silent Bob movie was.
Yeah, the last Jay and Silent Bob movie. If you hadn't seen the other movies, you'd be lost some of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go into this because they do a good enough job of setting up, explaining the backstory.
Yeah.
In the previous two movies, that I could see someone sitting down not having seen the other ones and not being lost. You could still follow it.
Yeah. So I've only seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey once, and that was probably over a decade ago at this point. I'm sure. I've seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure bunch of times because I think he used to be on Comedy Central in the afternoons when I get home from school. But
Bogus Journey, if you're only gonna see one in preparation, Bogus Journey is actually the better one to see.
Yeah,
I think
because there's more that's referenced to that. I mean, you just have to know the gist of the first one, basically.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
I think it this one is a better movie than Bogus Journey.
It definitely is that. So it's
still on the fence on whether or not it's better than the original.
Well, I mean, it's better produced than the original.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got a bigger budget than the original.
Right. And Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter have gotten better at acting since
That's
the
true.
original.
That's true.
But they still do all the head bobs that makes Keanu Reeves' long hair flick forward when he talks and he like sort of like bobs his head and like throws the words at you or something.
Yeah, they're both still not particularly bright
Yeah.
individuals.
So it's yeah, I mean if you liked the one or both of the previous movies, definitely go see it. You'll enjoy
Even
it.
if you're a fan of the cartoon series.
Yeah. So it's very much an 80s comedy. Like feel to it. Like just the kind of humor it is and stuff. It's very much the same kind of humor. But it, it's basically exactly what you expect, what everyone wanted from the movie.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed in it.
I mean, it definitely deserves better than it probably deserves better, I'm going to say, than the 6.5 that it has on IMDb right now.
Yeah, I'd say at least a 7.
Yeah. So the girl...
It's not for everyone. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, you got to be a Bill and Ted fan.
So the girls that play their daughters, Billy and Thea, they do a really good job of emulating Keanu and Alex in their like the way they talk and their movements and their speech pattern and stuff. I mean, they've very much nailed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. They mess around with the time travel a lot, like you would expect. A lot of like interacting with future selves and historical figures. That's all really entertaining. But yeah, it's definitely go see it. It's probably the best movie you can go see in theater right now. I mean, Tenet comes out next weekend, so we'll see. It's got an 8.0 rating on IMDb right now, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure Tenet will be a better movie, but I don't know if it's going to be as fun a movie.
Right.
I just enjoyed myself watching this movie a lot more than the New Mutants.
I mean, from the start, it's funny. Like, the very first scene is just one of the most genuinely funny scenes I've seen in a comedy in a long time. But yeah, I don't know
any more to say without spoiling it. I definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah, definitely go see this movie.
All right, so spoiler warning.
Yeah.
All right. So the opening scene that Niall talks about here, it opens up with Bill and Ted doing a performance at a wedding, and then you find out that it's Missy's wedding, and she's now marrying Ted's little brother.
Yeah.
So she went from, and they talk, it's like, we've known Missy a long time. First she was our babysitter, then we both asked her out to prom when she was a senior and we were freshmen, and then it was like, and then she was Bill's stepmom, and then she was my stepmom, and now she's marrying my little brother.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny. Like that whole scene, the way they set everything up.
And
and it's like making Logan his own son.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's really great.
They're so the premise is because we were left at the end of Bogus Journey thinking that they had performed the song that unites the world. Turns out they hadn't.
Right.
And so they're still trying to come up with that song. And now space-time is unraveling itself, and the song not only is going to reunite the world in peace, but also fix reality itself.
Yeah, that's kind of a running joke when they're like, we gotta come up with a song that'll unite the world and fix reality in time. And they're like, wait, is that new?
Yeah.
People are always like, wait, is that new?
So now they're trying to come up with a song because they only have like, it's basically the remainder of the, like they're given like a specific amount of time, but it's basically the rest of the run of time of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little in joke there, but so they don't have much time.
Self-referential.
So a self-referential joke, and so they're traveling. They decide like, well, we write it obviously because the world doesn't end. So they're trying to travel in time to the point where they've written it. And yeah, they keep having to like jump forward in time. Meanwhile, their daughters get a hold of a time booth, and they're
They're trying to round up a band.
They're trying to rally up the perfect band. So they're going and getting these historical figures.
They got
like Jimi Hendrix.
They got Jimi Hendrix. Mozart.
Louis Armstrong.
Mozart.
This.
What was that? I mean, it's a legendary
like
flutist from China.
And then some
Ling Lun. That.
Yeah.
I think. And then like this like tribal
drummer.
Like 12,000 BCE or whatever. It's like, basically like a Neanderthal or something.
Yeah. But then they put this whole like band together for them.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like they go back and like they tried to convince Jimi Hendrix to join their band first, but they had recorded him practicing on a stage, and he's like, "Man, get out of here! You're crazy!" And so they go and get Louis Armstrong, and they're like, "Dude, check this guy out. In the future, he's influenced by your music." And we're putting together this perfect band, and and so they go back and they're like, "Hey, Jimi Hendrix, we got Louis Armstrong," basically. But he's like doesn't believe it, and then Louis Armstrong starts playing his trumpet.
Yeah, then they go and get Mozart, and they hook up, and so like Mozart's doing this performance in some parlor somewhere, and they're outside, and Jimi Hendrix is playing the same song on the guitar, and so Mozart comes around like, "What is this?" And then.
Well,
Mozart was like a rock star of his age, so
yeah. Was it I said to you it would have been funny if they needed Mozart to get Falco? I mean, he wouldn't include Falco in like History's Perfect Band, but it would have been funny. Yeah, and they go and like get this flutist, and Mozart does a lot of the work getting those last two, like chasing after.
Well, you notice like when they show up and it scares the drummer off, and she goes run off. Mozart's the only one going after her. It's like Mozart really believes.
Yeah,
in this endeavor.
In this endeavor, yeah,
he really believes in this.
Yeah, so it's really fun, and like I was kind of worried that when they said a lot of the movie was going to be following the daughters instead.
It wasn't more than Bill and Ted though,
right? And I was worried that it was going to be like their movie, and Bill and Ted are just sort of there to set it up.
Yeah,
and they probably got pretty equal screen time.
Yeah, and then of course at the end, and I saw this coming a long time ago, is they're the actual Bill and Ted that unite the world.
Right, and so what it is they're not musicians themselves, but they're very fluent in music theory and like how things play off each other, and they know.
They just have an encyclopedic knowledge of music.
Yeah,
music history.
Yeah, and so like they're not the ones playing the music, but they're the ones saying like, okay, Death. Oh yeah, Death was their bassist. They had to go get Death. And like, all right, Death, play that chord from this song or whatever, and they're like telling them what to play and timing it, and so they just sort of assemble all of it together, and the
reason the song unites the world is because Bill and Ted and their wives actually go through time to bring everyone in the world throughout time involved in this song.
Yeah, because like time's folding in on itself, so like historical figures are getting moved around in time and space. And
there's this one shot that had me laughing where it shows Washington crossing the Delaware, and then Jesus Christ walks on the water past the boat.
Well, before that, Washington got swapped out with Babe Ruth, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, that baseball bat would probably be pretty good about bashing some Hessians. Let's be honest. It would come in useful in that fight. Yeah, it's just a really fun movie. We had a blast watching this movie.
What was that robot? In the future,
Dennis Caleb McCoy.
Yeah, so I guess there's the prophecy that Bill and Ted will unite the world, but then there's an interpretation that they have to die to do it, which turns out to kind of be true because they have to die to go get Death.
Right.
So they send this robot back in time to kill Bill and Ted unless they have the song. And so he's like showing up, but he's accidentally killing all these other people.
Yeah, he accidentally kills
attempts,
Ted's dad.
Yeah, in his attempts to kill Bill
Or
and Ted.
Bill's dad.
Yeah, no, Ted's dad. Keanu Reeves' Ted.
Yeah,
his kid,
yeah, that's right.
But he's accidentally killing all these other characters that he's not meaning to, and he's not like exactly a Terminator or anything. But so when he shows up to kill Bill and Ted, finally, like, we got the song, because they find themselves in this old folks' home.
Well, they killed the daughters in the perfect band.
Right, so he accidentally kills the daughters and the band, and so when they're like, well, we have the song, he's like, oh, I can't kill you. He's like, oh, but I accidentally killed your daughters.
Like, I messed up.
I accidentally killed your daughters. And they're like, so they try to get him to kill them, but he won't do it. And this robot is so grief stricken, he tries to kill himself. So they jump on him like at the last second, and he explodes and takes them all to hell. And then there's this robot walking around hell, and everyone's questioning, like, why is there a robot?
Yeah, it's like, that's weird.
That's weird. There's a robot in hell.
Yeah, it's very much like the movie acknowledging, like, this doesn't make sense. We get it. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Because they never explain it. Like, there's never like because this robot was made from a man or anything like that. It's just,
like
robot went to hell. Deal with it. We need this character in hell.
Right. Well, I laughed out loud when like Bill and Ted are standing there, and then the robot falls into the background.
Yeah.
I was like, why is there a robot in hell? But yeah, there's a lot of like just great little moments in there. So one thing I would like to have seen is because a future version of their wives takes their wives through time to show to find a time when they were like truly happy together or something like that. I'd like to see that adventure when they decide that it's yeah. But all right, so they're going through like couples therapy because their marriages aren't like great. Basically, Bill and Ted are a couple of losers.
Because they're concentrating on is trying to write this song.
Yeah, but they've been trying for 25 years to write this song, and they haven't done it.
Right.
So it's starting to like they're not bringing in any money. They're playing these gigs like the Elks Lodge in Barstow, California, on $2 taco night, and
it's such an insult that it's not even like a dive bar in Barstow, California. It's the Elks Lodge.
Right. So one of their futures like reveals that their wives leave them. And so they're trying to save their marriage at the same time as their marriages at the same time as finding the song. And so I get like a future version of their wives takes them off to show them like, and in this future they were losers, so it's like goes to show them like, what, look at all these loser things, that they do, but it all works out, of course.
Yeah,
but I'd kind of like to see that adventure, like where they went to show off, like,
I mean, yeah, and I'd
like a special on the DVD or something.
I'd be down for further movies that do focus on the daughters too. I thought they were pretty funny. I thought they worked well together. But yeah. Got anything else?
Not really. Oh, so do you think both families live in that one house?
I was wondering. No, because they parked at the house next door and then walked over.
Okay, so they live next to each other.
I think they just live next door to each other.
Okay.
But let's see what's coming up next. Oh, next is Tenet. We know that. And then Wonder Woman after that, right? So yeah, Tenet's next weekend. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman's not till October. Damn. So we're gonna see Tenet and then not see any movies for the rest of September. Oh, that's disappointing.
It was funny is when they get to hell and Ted's dad is there, because Ted's dad never believed any of the stuff that they talked about their time travel or anything. And so when he gets there and he's like, well, obviously it's all true. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And then they hug it out.
Yeah. And then, like, Ted starts to say something. He's like, I wasn't talking to you.
Bill.
Or Bill. Yeah.
Bill starts to say something. He's like, yeah, I wasn't talking to you, Bill.
Yeah. So it's... Yeah. It's kind of disappointing that we're only seeing one movie in September. Go see Tenet. Go see the shit out of Tenet. Because if Tenet does really well in theaters, hopefully it'll convince other studios that, okay, it's safe to release these massive budget movies that we've been kind of holding back and pushing back.
Right.
I mean, we know, like, Black Widow and No Time to Die are coming out in November. Those are probably the biggest movies left in the year after Tenet. Oh, Dune. Dune's in December, that's right. Dune's a big one, too.
Please go see Dune.
Yes.
Because we certainly don't want them to... I mean, they've already greenlit the second one, right?
Yeah, they approved him for 2 movies, which Dune needs to be 2 movies.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it as movies. So yeah, please go see movies if you can. Like, I know people are like, oh, I'm not going to go to theaters until there's movies to see and it's safe. And I got to tell you, at least the places around us where we go to, they reek of disinfectant when you go into them now. I mean, they're just soaking shit down in disinfectant.
Before every screening, they go through their whole spiel, this whole rigmarole of all the things they do to keep you safe.
All the things you've already encountered on your way into the theater.
Yeah.
Like, they've already like, you know, you've already seen the plexiglass at the concession stand, and the theater we went to, they have self-serve soda fountains. But there's a person there doing that, like with gloves on, handling, like they have the cups back there and they fill it for you and everything.
No refills.
They even have like a snot shield over the popcorn. At this theater, it was the first time I've ever seen that. I wonder, it's the first time we've ever been to that chain, so I wonder if that's a normal thing or if that's something that they started doing for COVID. For the virus.
I don't know.
I think we're allowed to say the name of the virus on YouTube now.
Because this is a chain. They only have, as far as I know, one theater where we're at.
I think so.
So
it's not even technically in the same town.
Yeah, it's
it's not technically in the same city.
It's so it's a new chain to us. Maya.
Yeah.
Is the chain. So theater's brand new. It just opened within the last year, I think.
I think it opened this year. Sometime.
I think so.
It's very new.
Because it was just an empty lot last time I was over there, and I work right over there.
Yeah.
So right over by where this theater is, and it wasn't there, as far as I know, like about a year ago. Was
right.
So it was just an empty lot. So anyway, yeah, they go through this whole spiel of all that and how they're disinfecting everything, and that's been the case in all 3 theaters we've been to since theaters reopened. They have this like fast drying disinfectant they use that apparently is effective on the virus, and they got these like proton packs that just like soak shit down in it. Yep. And they clean the bathrooms regularly, and
also there's there's very few people in most of these showings.
Yeah.
So definitely except maybe if you're in like New York or something, it's a lot safer than you might think.
I know California, their theaters still shut down.
I believe so, yeah. I think they're the only state that still has its theaters shut down as a state law. Some theaters are still shut down in places, but that's on the company, not on the state governments. So yeah, please go see them, because we're not going to get back to regular movie attending experiences if people aren't going to these showings. And man, we love going to the movies. That's our thing. So, but yeah, Nolan, my friend.
Niall, my friend.
This has been an excellent review of Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yes.
So I think that covers it for this one.
I think so.
All right.
Be excellent to each other.
And until next time, thanks for listening.